Hey friends, today I'm sharing my 8-step formula for writing proposals that actually win contracts. And this isn't theory. This is based on my 20 years of experience writing winning proposals. See, I know writing a proposal all on your own, it's really tough. And that's why I've broken it down into 8 clear, actionable steps that actually work. In this video, you'll learn the exact steps to write your proposal, common mistakes that cause proposals to fail, and pro tips that I've learned from reviewing hundreds of proposals. And then we'll cover how you can use AI to save you hours of time. So let's jump in with step 1. Head over to sam.gov, find a contract you want to bid on, and download the solicitation or RFP. If you're unsure how to find RFPs, check the link below. I've got a video where I walk you through the process. And I'm going to start with the biggest mistake that beginners make. And let me give you a real example. When I was starting out, I had a proposal rejected because the RFP asked for the project manager's qualifications in 2 different sections, but my English teacher had taught me not to repeat myself. So rather than repeating the information, I just referred back to the first section, and the proposal failed because I hadn't followed the instructions exactly. So learn from my mistake. The RFP will tell you exactly what to include in your proposal, how to format it, and how to submit it. And our job is to do exactly what they ask for. Now, what the pros all do, they create something called a compliance matrix. That's just a table that lists each requirement in the RFP and where it's addressed in the proposal. And that brings me to my next tip. Please beware of those proposal templates that you find online. See, every RFP is different with its own specific instructions. And that template you found online wasn't written for the contract that you're bidding on. And I don't want your proposal to be disqualified because you didn't follow the instructions in your RFP. Bottom line, this is one of the biggest reasons why proposals fail, but it's also easy to fix. Before you submit your next proposal, check that you've included everything and make sure that it's real easy for a reviewer to find each piece of information. Okay, let's start assembling your proposal, starting with the contract form. Now, typically, the first page of an RFP is a form SF-1449 or something very similar, and it looks like this. And the government fills out part of this form, and you complete part of this form and submit it with your proposal. The solicitation number is here, and you'll use this number whenever you communicate with the government. And the proposal due date and time is here, and this is critical. The proposal has to be submitted before this time. And this box shows who's eligible to bid on the contract. For example, for this contract, only small businesses can bid. When you go to fill out the form, in box 17A, put your company name, address, phone number, and where it says code, that's where you'll enter your cage code. If you don't know what that is, check out the notes below. Then in box 30, you'll sign it, type in your name and title, and date it. Now let's talk about writing the words in your proposal, what the government typically calls the technical proposal. Government employees are risk averse, so it's important to explain how you'll meet the contract requirements and also your expertise and your experience, so the reviewers don't feel like they're taking a risk by awarding the contract to you. And I've got a tip that can save you hours of time, particularly if writing isn't your thing. Use AI to help you draft this section. I've developed an AI prompt stack for writing proposals, and I put together a video that walks you through how to use it. So you don't want to miss that. Check out the link in the notes below. Next, let me share with you a mistake I've been seeing a lot of lately, and that's not understanding the difference between a marketing document and a proposal. Let me give you an example. Let's say you run an environmental consulting company and your staff are experts in Clean Water Act and Clean Air Act. So your marketing documents, like your capability statement, it talks about both things. But now you're writing a proposal for a Clean Water Act job. Don't include that capability statement in your proposal. Your reviewers don't care about your Clean Air Act experience. All they want to know about is your Clean Water Act experience. See, to be successful, we need to stay focused on the RFP and leave out anything extraneous. And don't worry about getting fancy with the language. We're not writing a novel here. Your best bet is to use clear and concise language. And AI can definitely help you with that. Just remember to review what it wrote, because it does make stuff up sometimes. Now let's talk about pricing. And getting this right is essential, because really, our end goal isn't winning the contract, it's making money. Submitting your price in the proposal, well, that's the easy part. The RFP will typically include a form like this, and you'll fill in the numbers they ask for, things like your price per hour and your total price for a year. Of course, the hard part is figuring out what price to bid. And to do that, we need to understand the total cost to perform the contract. And what makes this tricky is that the government will often add unique requirements, things you may not be expecting. For example, I know a company that lost money on a contract because they didn't understand the government's requirements for how much vacation time they had to give their employees. So make sure you calculate the total cost to meet the government's requirements, and don't forget about your indirect costs, things like bookkeeping and insurance. These are easy to miss and can make or break your profitability on a contract. Out of everything in your proposal, pricing is where I recommend you spend the most time. And I've done several videos on this subject, so I'll put some links for you in the notes below. The first step in developing your price is to think through the work scope. And when you do that, you'll have questions. I have never seen an RFP that's perfectly written. It is completely normal, and it's expected that you'll have questions. And somewhere in the RFP, they'll tell you how to submit your questions. Usually they'll tell you an email address, and they'll also tell you the deadline for submittal of questions. You can ask them for clarification on any point, and you can also ask questions like, who's the incumbent, and what's the incumbent's contract price? Just remember, when you email your questions, put the solicitation number in the subject line of your email. Now, the government is going to post all the questions and answers on sam.gov. They do that so that everyone has access to the same information. Here's an example of questions and answers posted on a current solicitation. For each one, they repeat the question, but they don't reveal who submitted the question. So keep checking sam.gov to see all the questions and answers. That's sometimes a real good source of information. And we also need to check sam.gov to see if they've posted amendments. Amendments are changes the government makes to the solicitation, and these could be things like answers to questions, but also sometimes they extend the proposal due date. Here's what an amendment looks like. Not only do amendments provide critical information that could affect your pricing or your schedule, but also your proposal could be disqualified if you don't acknowledge an amendment. And that's why I want you to always check sam.gov for amendments before you submit your proposal. Fortunately, acknowledging amendments is real easy. Typically, you'll do it directly on the amendment form itself. Just enter your company info in block 8 and then sign and type your name, title, and date in box 15 and submit it with your proposal. Now, we've got the proposal finished, but before we submit it, we've gotta do a review. See, the RFP will tell us the evaluation criteria the government will use when they review our proposal. And what the pros do is they go through the proposal and make sure it's easy for a reviewer to find the response to each of the evaluation criteria. And another thing, I strongly encourage you to have someone else review your proposal before you submit it. This doesn't have to cost you a thing. There are organizations like Apex and SCORE where you can get free help, particularly if you're a beginner. It's pretty easy to miss some required element from the RFP. Maybe there was a FAR clause you needed to fill in and submit with your proposal, or a form you forgot to sign. And an experienced reviewer will help spot these kinds of errors. But to take advantage of this, you need to finish your proposal early. And I know that is easier said than done. I have certainly finished lots of proposals at the last minute. But if it's at all possible, finish early and get an external review. It could be the difference between getting disqualified and winning the bid. Okay, you've written a great proposal, now it's time to submit it. And the RFP will tell you exactly how to submit it. Some ask you to email your proposal, others direct you to upload your proposal on a website. And if you're submitting by email, be sure to put the solicitation number in the subject line of your email. And I recommend submit before the deadline. I have seen companies get disqualified because the government computer system went down at the last minute and they weren't able to upload their proposal in time. Or maybe you're submitting by email and it turns out your file attachment is too big. Look, I've seen lots of things go wrong, and you don't want to put in all this time to write a wonderful proposal and then not be able to submit it. So please submit early so you have time to deal with any technical glitches. Now, I know these 8 steps may seem like a lot, but here's what I want you to remember. Every successful government contractor started exactly where you are right now. Let me give you a concrete action plan for the next 24 hours. Go to sam.gov, download a solicitation that matches your capabilities, and block out time in your calendar right now to read through it. If you're not sure how to find a solicitation that's right for you, watch this video next. It walks you through the process. And check out the links below for more of my videos so you can master every step in the process. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.